Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be taking a look at Foda Flux Pack Volume 2. So I've got a couple of test images up on here showing what we can pull off. Do take a look at them, give us a rate, give us a like, follow the thing on the old CivitAI, and you'll get the latest updates. So what we've got is we've got a new workflow, two new workflows, Flux Shift and Flux Sampler Garden. We'll take a look at the Sampler Garden first. If you have followed, you've seen the coder pack. We've got one in there too. So let's dive in. So, few improvements. Shift is applied to this workflow, but I've got a comparison set up so I can show you what that is. Sampler Garden is actually full screen. Sampler Garden is actually all different samplers, right? So it's set up so that whatever you put in can also be put to these. Now they have their own business. And what I found was on text to image, all of these work great. Okay, you'll get good image quality with all of these, with the presets I've given you. However, with image to image, only the simples seem to work well. All right. Now, I must admit, I hadn't messed around with the model shift, which I'll be showing. So possibly, if you push the model shift quite high, the exponentials might start to work, but certainly the simples, they all work great. So for the purpose of speed, what I'll be doing is I'll be using DPMPP alt, 2M alt, simple. So the first thing you're going to need to do, obviously, is if you haven't already, is make sure that all of your models are actually loaded correctly, and they will set the references for everything in the workflow. Secondly, we're going to enable Flux Default, which is what we had in version 1, and then Flux Shift, which is what I'm moving to. So this is going to become the new standard. So version 1 works great, but this works better. So when we have it set like so, and then obviously we're going to have to put it to not image to image mode. So let's just stop that and do it again. Okay. So we should have it on image to image mode, and it's probably going to correct. Oh, wait, no, that's okay. That's good. Model shift right now is 3 and the denoise is 0.6. So we're going to change that to 1 and go again. Right. So now we get our test thing there. So let's get the prompt that we're actually using right now. So right now we've got, that's the upscale prompt. There we go. We've got this. So let's take this one and we'll put it into the prompt for the comparison. This is only here to compare with. A few interesting things. If you just use one, I hope we haven't got it on random seed. No, we don't. So if we just put the prompt only into the, this would be, if I just cut it out, this would be the T5 XXL section, right? We're going to get an image like this. All right. At model shift 3, I've pumped it up quite high. Okay. So I'll show you. And yeah, it's already done it. Now, if I just put that in the other side, the clip L side only, we're going to get something like that, which is also pretty awesome. All right. Now, if we put it in both, it's going to lean towards the T5, as you can see. But there is a little bit of an influence there, right? So this is the new version, right? And we can control the shift. So let me just change it. So no, that's the upscaling details. There we go. The default value is 1.15 as far as I know. So if I just run that, it'll make both of these again. All right. Okay, so that one hasn't, there we go. Now you got the glow coming back a little bit. So now let's push it. I keep on going to the wrong spot. Push it up to 2 and run it again. And then, of course, this one shouldn't change because we're not changing the shift over here. As you can see, it's becoming more, it's following the prompt more. Okay, so this is an interesting one because when I messed with the CFG, it didn't really make a huge difference. And let's see, we've got one here, 3.5. I found that it was much more useful. 3.5 is nice. So I found it was much more useful to mess around with the shift and the denoise values when you're talking about image to image. Right now we're looking at text to image. I just wanted to show you the influence that the model shift has compared with the standard. This is what we had in the V1, the first workflow. I brought it out in the pack. And then obviously this allows us to push. I mean, it's getting a bit cooked now, right? But it allows us to do a bit more. And obviously there's a long range. I actually did a long render, probably not in this tab, but where I just went up by 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And it was quite interesting. It started off as a person and then morphed in. So what I'll do now is I'll switch over to image, which is the same. You swap it over here, and now it's going to take the image that we're going to use there. Currently, we're at 1 denoise. So I'm going to move that to like 0.75, but you might need to go down as low as 0.5, especially if we have a model starting off at model Flux.1. Model Flux.1? Flux.1 model shift. So let's take a look. So this is the V1. That's what we would have got out of the V1. And this is what we get out of the V2 at shift 1. So again, we were getting a good image and it's blending the prompt. If we just look at the prompt is half cybernetic, half demon, shogun armor, immense mecha, Gundam, heavy gear, baroque, HR, Geiger, Belinsky, octane render, excessive amount of cables, blur. And that's a mid-journey V2 prompt from my archives. So with model shift 1, it gives us this. So let me just show you. If I just pump this up to 2 and run the prompt again, and then it's going to give us something like this. And so now we're sort of getting into Power Rangers territory. And so to get back to mecha, we just go to 3. I went up to 3.5 one time testing this. And it will become more intricate and more like what I asked, more Gundam, right? And these images are really impressive. You can do a lot of stuff with this. And as you can see, the model shift hasn't affected the V1, right? So in the actual shift workflow, you won't have the V1 stuff. I just left it here so that you can see this is what the first workflow used to do with the same. And obviously controlling this shift value, default, as I said, is 1.15, right? Go. Still pretty awesome. Haha, looks like something out of a Mecha Godzilla. Right. So what if we were to just change it to something else, like this woman here? I think that's what I had it on before, actually. And obviously this isn't control net. This is image to image. So that would have been what we would have had. And with the model shift 2, she's starting to become a little bit demonish with big metal plates. Oh, that's 1. Yeah, 2. 2, I think she starts to get some headgear, if I remember right. Oh, okay, it's just straight into being a robot. Does works for me. So obviously in between there, probably 1.5. Let's give it a go. See if we can get somewhere in between the two. And there you go. And remember, this was at 0.75 denoise, so I could have used 0.55 denoise, which is going to be a lot closer to the original image. Or will it be? So there it is. And then what we can do is we can just, we'll pump the shift up to 3.0. So it's like there's a balancing act going on. So you're able to pump it back. Oh, that's super cool. Super cool weaponry. Love it. Okay. So it's like not what's that, 5, 6 pile drivers? I like it. So anyway, I've left you with a bunch of example prompts for this one so you can really get to grips with it. Obviously, there's always different modes for the input image. The reason I've done it with the aspect size is this becomes a commander that sets what everything will be, and even to the point of resizing, taking care of this so it all conforms and it plays nice and everything goes. You don't get the shape mismatch. Hopefully, that's what we're trying to avoid. And then you can pretty much put anything in here because it's set by a master dimension, which everything is conforming to, as I say. So start off with position 1 for the text to image mode. And then when you're ready, you can obviously plug in and just go for. I tend to get my prompt nice in text to image. And then once my prompt is nice, I'll take it into, oh, we need to put the denoise up. 1. Seemed to do okay though, didn't it? Even though it was, I forgot to change the denoise. There we go. We're back to where we started, look. Okay. Right. So that's pretty much, you already know how to use the upscaler. You just turn everything else off. You don't have to, or you can turn everything else off, put the upscale stage on, turn these guys off like that. Drag the image that you want. Let's say I want to make that cool one with the weapons. Okay, so we'll put that in like that. Go. And that is going to make us our upscale. It only does 2x on the pass. Okay, but I'm not checking. So if you accidentally put a 4K image in here, it's going to try and do 8K, and it might be able to do it. But if you do it again with an 8K image, it's definitely going to blow up. So just be careful. You know the limits of your own system, but just bear in mind that this is designed to take a 1000 image here and then go 2, 4, 8. I've taken 8 away because we can't realistically do it right now. It needs a better upscale process that's more memory efficient. I wouldn't be surprised if some upscale tool or mod gets an update and then we can include that again. And then obviously, if you wanted to use the color match remix, we can just plug in a vibrant image, drag that in, and then it's going to make it. It's sort of like a cheap man's color correction is what I'd call it. Oh, wow. Is it signed by Studio IG? Almost. Anyway. So that is the sampler garden. It means you can effectively test them all. In fact, you know what? Why don't we do one run with the flux shift, upscale off, and let me do them all and I can show you what I mean. And then we can move on to the new main workflow. So off we go. Okay, so it's starting to come in. Now, let me just check what we're doing here. We are doing text to image right now. All right. So what we should see is all these looking reasonably the same sort of quality. There is some variation. In fact, you know what? Have I got the shift too high? Shift is already at 3. Yeah, we want to put that back down to like 1.15. All right, I'm going to cancel that, start again. But they were all coming through nicely. So I will rejoin you when these are cooked. Okay, so now we've got them all cooked. We can take a little look, see here. So first of all, what you'll notice is that they're grouped by scheduler. So these are all simple scheduler, but every single one is a different sampler. This one is Hun with simple. They're all using the same guidance and steps, but what I've changed is either the sampler or the scheduler. So this group is simple. I believe this is the exponential group. All right. And the reason is because the image quality was bad. So I went and found the best image quality for the sampler at these settings and then grouped them together by scheduler type. So this last three is Keras. Okay, we've got IPN, and a whole bunch of others. But as you can see, we're pretty much getting, there are some variations. Okay, obviously there's different styles and looks to these, right? But ultimately they are the same image and they are of similar quality. Okay, and as you can see, all of these work on text to image. So it's really up to you which one you like the look of best. And I would advise just sort of looking at them all and going, if you like that one, leave that one on in addition to the alternate. Now, some of them, I wanted to leave this one like this quickly. This one is DPMPPSDEGPU. Now, when you have the seed set to fixed, if I make one change here, it's just going to do this, not the whole lot. It's a very important thing which maybe hasn't been explained. But we're going to leave the SDGPU and we're going to see if this is maybe on the wrong scheduler. So we'll start with normal. Okay, see how it's kind of all blurry and stuff? Not really a good gen. So let's try Keras. And that is much, much better. So I would say right now, Keras is probably the better looking version. So now let's try exponential. And exponential actually has better details and a little bit sharper. So what about SGM uniform? Blurry again. And now simple, which is the default setup. And it's blurry again still. So now we go for DDIM uniform. And it's complete nonsense. So then we go for beta, which is the last one. And it's blurry again. So I don't know. I thought that exponential was the best one, to be honest. So I'll put it back to exponential. And then, what I would do is basically just move it down into the exponential group. So we've got them organized. But what's interesting is now I've sort of laid that out. What we're going to do is turn image to image on. There's image to image, right? And this is the image we're using. So we were getting like pretty hard mecha prompts out of it. And now we turn this on and it's going to go ahead and it's going to do all of them. So give me a second and we'll do some time skipping. And it does help to alter the denoise, which is next to the model sampling. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a nice denoise balance. And then we're going to mess around with the sampling shift. I mean, it's called model sampling flux, but I think it works the same as the shift value in Stable Diffusion 3, or it seems to work in a similar way. What we've actually got from the image to image at 0.75 is we've sort of got this demon horns coming out, armor plates on the figure. But interestingly, if we look at the simples are doing the image to image stuff, right? Slight variations, but they're doing it. But if we look at the exponentials, it's just the schedule is too strong, I think. And so as a result, you just don't get the image to image effect. So this is why I'm saying for text to image, all of these guys are brilliant. But in image to image, really you want to have one of these 8 here. So they're all the ones that are marked as simple. So if I was just to turn off anything that isn't simple, like so. So now I've only got the simples on, right? And let's just change the background image to this guy. And bump that one. So now we're only going to be looking at the ones that actually might change. Okay, here's our first output. That's pretty cool. Some extreme close-up, which is what this one is. So, you know, it follows pretty well, you know, at low shift values. It follows pretty well. But we can pump up the shift, which is what we're going to do in a minute. So let's just have a look at some of these. So this one, it's even got, look at this writing detail, which was I love this. Writing detail, some of the small details this model can pull off. This is quite rough as well, but is that more writing? Yeah, more writing. We go over to this one, no writing on there, but we've got some insignias and different name on the badge. Okay, what do we got here? No writing. We've got writing there, different name again. All different details. I like this one. Which one's this? Yeah, it's 2M Alt. This is the one I tend to go with. 2M Alt. It's quite a new sampler as well. But as you see here, Hun is the one that's getting this writing. And Hun is not it's not fast. I think it does like, it's more about accuracy. I think was it 2? It's not first order, it's second or something. I forget the, in a while. This is also pretty good. This one here is Hun PP2. Like I said, I had great results with all of these, to be honest. DPM2, DDIM, Classic DDIM, and Uni PC BH2 and Uni PC. They were also pretty good, but I felt that DDIM, Hun PP2, really nice details. Really nice. Look at the writing there, 1242 and some Chinese. But the problem with Hun is, like I said, it is very slow. So it's nice if you want the maximum detail, but it takes a while. Whereas this is a bit quicker and newer. I might be wrong. It might be that Hun PP2 came out at the same time as DPM Alt. I'm not entirely sure, but I know this one's new. Anyway, won't get carried away because we spent enough time on the samplers. Just wanted to show you what that was all about. So last thing, as promised, is we'll pump up the shift to 3 and see what happens. Right there. Boom. Suddenly it's a big robot. So as we pump up the strength, it seems to push the prompt more. Yeah. Which is nice. It'll go away from the original image though. And I guess you can mitigate that by reducing this. So we could go to 0.5 on the denoise. So if I just cancel this now, because it's just going to make a whole bunch of extremely similar stuff, which would be amazing for feeding an IP adapter or some control nets. But oh wow, what the heck? Cool. It's an interesting design, isn't it? Putting missiles that fire out of your nose or your eyebrows. I don't know. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's tried to go back to it. It works as I thought it would. The model that'll push the prompt more, and then reducing the denoise will obviously bring it back to the original image. So you've got kind of 2 levers to balance between when you're doing it image to image. Less shift and more denoise, I think. Or is it more shift and less denoise? It's probably a balance of the 2. Yeah. So yeah, so like if I went now to 0.9 and then I put the model shift to like, I don't know, can we go 0.9? I haven't tried. 0.9 and 0.9. Let's see what happens. 'Should be Oh, wait. Ah, yeah. That's not right. 0.5 there. There we go. It's confusing because you've got to kind of balance the two, and one of them's like inverted because this, a high number means the model is going to denoise more. And then here, a high number means it's going to denoise more, but it'll push what you've prompted a bit more. It's not really CFG, but I guess it must affect the no, where is it? The guider. I'm guessing it must affect the guider somehow by affecting the model, which would then in turn affect the conditioning. Yeah, look, see that? Yeah. So I hope that makes sense. So obviously just, if I was to then now go to 2, it's going to become more like the prompt again. And in a sense, this sort of gives us a loose control net because it's giving us, it doesn't really give you depth or canny, but it gives you the same effect that canny had. Like, sort of. It's a little bit looser. I hope you can see that. So normally when you had less denoise, it would just become more like this image and then that's it, right? But what this is doing is then doubling the strength of the denoise that was done. So you're effectively preserving the original. If I just pump that one more time. Yeah, look at that. That's so cool. So like I said, we're still keeping this image, a lot of the detail from it, but the higher I push that, so you can control how much it looks like the original image, just like you would normally with any other image to image. But this allows us to pump up the strength of the prompt. So it's kind of like you get to have your cake and eat it later. All right, so that pretty much covers the sampler garden. So it's there to sort of let you compare and experiment different values. It should come with good values and some test prompts you can mess with. All you need is some images, so you can mess with the image to image mode. When you're on text to image, make sure you select 1, image to image select 2. That's about all you need to do. The controls, really, you've got the prompt and then you've got these 2 levers to pull on. So that is the sampler garden. So now, oh, and here's an example with a completely different prompt. We've got a denoise of 0.6 and a model shift of 3. And we had the Ninja Girl prompt, and that's how we made this image and this image. I'm sure that I probably cooked it. We'll probably back off. It's probably too strong. But like I said, this is the V2 pack. So, all right, here it is. This is going to be the standard workflow moving forward, like the main thing that I'll add to with different features. I'm calling it shift in honor of the way that the shift denoise is working for the image to image process. But it does also have an effect if we have it on text to image right now, and we're still using this cybernetic demon shogun armor thing. So we've got it on, we'll leave it on 0.6 and I'll show you. So we've just got this image to mess with right now. So it makes a bunch of nonsense because we are on text to image and we haven't got 1D noise, which typically you would want. Colors allowed you to do strange things, but this is pretty normal. So now we have our image at 1. What we could do is we could pump up the shift in text to image. And there you go. It's increased the details and fine, it's just built up the pixel depth. Now, obviously we've got our upscale and it is native. So it is using this model. It's not using SDXL or 1.5 or something else to upscale. it is upscaling with Flux. So that's nice. But this is a little bit easier to understand. All you have to deal with on this one is, do you want Flux Shift? Do you want DPM Alt? DPM Alt is DPM Alt, 2M Alt, right? I've just got it there as an example so you can compare the two outputs here. And as you can see, sometimes 2M Alt is a little bit cleaner. And what have we got the denoise on? Denoise 1, model shift 2. So we go back to 1.15 quickly. And then we will choose a different input image again. In fact, can we have that one with the house? Yeah. Let's try that one. So right now we've got denoise 1 and we've got model shift 1.15. Okay, so this is what we're currently making with our prompt. So now we're going to turn on the image to image mode. Could have sworn it didn't actually use it. Of course, I forgot to back off my denoise. So let's do 0.75. 0.75 first and 0.5 second. There it is. Oh, don't go to 0.5. That's really cool. It's like a giant Gundam head. All right. So now let's pump it up to like 1.5 maybe on the shift. I want a little bit more Gundam-y stuff. Ooh. Going for a walk, are you? Look at this guy. That's a bit large. I wouldn't want to stand there. Okay. So let's back it off a little bit more. 0.7. Doesn't seem to have changed at all. All right, let's go to model shift 2. This is already a great image. Huh. Okay. And the alt gave us that. So weird thing is, in this one, having the extra detail defeated us because his leg looks wrong when it's in focus like this. But because of the way it's misty and stuff in this one, it looks like it might be further away. And so, you know how sometimes extra detail is a bad thing. Sometimes it's almost looks like it's just a funny angle. Whereas this one, I don't know, it looks like a weird shape, weird proportion. But whatever, this is just one seed of many. All right. So, and then again, if I just change the image to something completely different, like, oh, let's use our bottle. Let's use the bottle at shift 2.7. Oh, yeah. I don't know about that accessory. Got a weird accessory there. And again, so now maybe I want to make it more like the prompt, please. And then we'll queue up more like the image, please. Look at that. Awesome. So what I'm trying to show you is that there's ways that we can guide the image just using old techniques, old text to image and image to image tricks from back in the days when we didn't have ControlNet and stuff. And you can still do a pretty good job. Obviously, things will get better as we get access to the new tools, but you should be able to see that. So did I just do 0.45 and run it? I think I did. Yeah, I did. So I hope you can see how we went from, a full image to back to being somewhere between the two, to full off, then to full concept again, and then back again. So you have the ability to fine tune the concept a little bit using both the image that you put in, the float for the denoise, and obviously the model shift. So there it is. All right, I'm sure there'll be many more workflows on this one. So yeah, thanks again for downloading the pack. Give the video a like, subscribe to the video. and I'll see you next time. So, memberships are here. I've added donator and member. The donator membership is just you want to support the channel, help us grow. Member, you're going to get some exclusive video access. So look out for the upcoming date and check out the join now button for more information.